Hi, I'm Haley. I just wanted to talk a little bit off the cuff about my experience as a self-published author. For those that don't know, I have two self-published books. They're both poetry, they're short, but I just find that the most difficult part for me in my journey to become this author is really just the marketing, the after effects, the aftermath, if you will, of writing, because to me it hasn't been difficult to generate the ideas and to create the book and to illustrate the book, but the main problem is how do you get people to see it and buy it and want to read it? And I know poetry is not the biggest genre out there. I'm cognizant of that. I know that people have these kind of negative perceptions and preconceived notions about what poetry is, and that all poetry is going to either sound like something Shakespearean, you know, some kind of like 16th century lingo and words and lexicon that you just don't really understand, or it's going to be so accessible that it's literally just like a platitude, you know, just like a sentence with someone hitting the enter key a couple times. So it's hard to try to market yourself as being different than that, as being accessible, but also having weight and gravitas to your work, that you really tried hard to write something that has internal rhymes and flow and structure, and that your line breaks are of significance and importance. And, you know, I'm just going off on poetry now, but the idea is really just how do you market that, because I'm finding it so difficult to get anyone to buy my book. And you know, you have family and stuff like that, but that's literally all who's bought it. Like my first book, I think I sold like 20 copies. It came out like late December, like in time for Christmas, and I think it was 20, and that pretty much entirely constitutes what I sold. And its constituents are really just friends and family. I don't think there's maybe like one or two outliers out there of people that bought it who are unknown to me, who are probably, you know, someone that found me on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. And that's kind of the rub. That's where I'm going with this tangent, is basically the idea that you have to market yourself if you're self-published, and that is exceedingly difficult if you do not already have a strong foundational presence on social media. And I don't, you know, call me like a outdated millennial, but I never really had social media that much. I got Facebook in 2010, I think around that time when I graduated from high school, because it was supposed to be a college kid kind of website, so I got it when I went into college. But yeah, that's mainly for friends and family now. But yeah, I never really had TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or any of these places. Like my original Instagram that I've had 12 followers. They're all like family, things like that. Like, it's just so hard to build a following from literally nothing. And I don't understand how to do that. And it's hard when you're older too. You're just like, these kids, you see like this 20-year-old, like this up-and-coming 20-year-old poet who's sold like thousands of copies, who's like made a name for herself on YouTube and, you know, Instagram and all that stuff. And it just, yeah, like admittedly there's a bit of jealousy there, like, because you don't understand what you're doing wrong. What did they do to accrue that following? And, you know, how to attain virality, if that's the word, viralness, to attain that. What do you have to do? And it's just hard, because I don't know what to do. I've tried looking into it. I've tried watching the YouTube videos of people like, if I started YouTube now, what would I do to grow? And like hacking the system doesn't really work if you're trying to sell a poetry book, because you know, you're trying to market something, you're trying to show people that there's value in what you have to give, you know, reason for them to continuously subscribe and view your work. And I don't know, poetry to me has inherent value, but to a lot of people it kind of doesn't. So it's hard, and all these YouTubers are like, yeah, I would do X, Y, and Z to market myself, and it just doesn't work for me. I've tried using the proper tags and titles and working on my thumbnails, and it just, YouTube just swallows my work. You know, you could work so hard on something and get like 5 views, like this probably will. Shorts are doing a little better, but it's still, I have no idea why something can achieve 1,000 one day and like 20 the next. It makes no sense to me. I can't garner the attention that I feel like I need to be able to do this, because like, it's not my main career, you know, it's not, I'm not reliant on this for financial saliency and stability, you know, but that's what I want. And it's hard when you're a creative person, because your hobby can't become or can't transcend being a mere hobby if there's no audience, if you can't make it financially work. And that's the sad reality of it. You know, you eventually go from like full-time with a hobby to like part-time making some money to then eventually giving up your 9 to 5 and doing your hobby. But that ascension depends entirely on the financial nature of it, and the financial nature of it is then tied intrinsically to popularity and getting yourself out there. And that's what it is, because I've compared it a couple of times to feeling like an actor on a stage performing to no one. Because if you're in a creative field, you're doing this for an audience, as much as you like to say that it's self-gratifying, and it is, to bare your soul, you still want to share it with somebody. It's not the same as just acting or talking to no one or writing for no one. You want people to consume your work, your art. This is a shareable thing that you want to get out there, and it's just inherently so demoralizing and so defeating to make such a work and try so hard for no one to care. You know, what is your incentive then to proceed? Like, I don't know. Like, the desire to do it is of course always there, but what's the end goal? You know, like, why am I doing this? And I'll always love writing. It's something I'll continue to do on the side, but it can't be sustainable for me, and that is kind of devastating. That's reality, you know, that's what it's like in the real world as a creative person. But it's just sad that you see like teens with like huge followings that can make it because they have followings. I even looked into a publisher, and one of the questions that they asked was, how many followers do you have on like social media? And it's like, why does it have to matter? Like, I wish a traditional publisher would be more apt to pick you up from nothing, but it's not an incentive for them to pick you up if you don't have a following already existing, because that is a follower base, that is like a foundational group of people who will purchase the book. So to them, it's a investment, it's a safe investment, it's a smarter investment to pick the person that already has the following than the person who has no one. And it just rags on me, because I feel like I've wanted to start a YouTube back in like college in like 2013, something like that, because I felt like I could do it, and I'd like it, and I'd be good at it. I'm a yapper. I talk to myself all the time, so talking to myself in front of a camera is barely different, but I kick myself all the time because I thought it was too late then. I thought I was too late, and all the people that had the million subscribers, like, they already accrued all the audience, and I would be late on the uptake of YouTube, and I would be unable to carve out my niche because all niches were taken. Of course, like, retrospectively, now you're kicking yourself because it's like, now it feels like all the niches are taken. And if I started back then, who knows where I could have been now. And so that's a little bit of, like, I hope that's helpful to some people as motivation, because if you don't do it now, you'll kick yourself, because 10 years, 15 years down the line, you're gonna be like, why the heck didn't I start then? Because now I'm at a place that I don't want to be, but everyone has to start there, I guess. It just is hard to push through what seems insuperable, this boundary, this barricade to entry. It's just so hard, and I don't know what the point of this video is. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I found to be difficult in the field of self-publishing and why I don't feel good about proceeding. I want to try with my next book, trying traditional publishing, because they do have ways of marketing, I guess, especially if you're with a bigger name. The name carries the weight, and that helps promulgate the book. Is their name, not necessarily yours. But like I said, some of those sites actually want to have you have followers. They want that security. So it's, you know, just the world that we live in. It's so, it necessitates having popularity, and it necessitates having a following. And I've tried, and I don't know what to do because the growth is just not there. It's so incremental that it's almost impossible to see, and I don't know how to make a niche versus content that no one wants to consume. You know, you hope that, like, your personality is enough, right? Like, I can't provide content to people that necessarily is fitting into a specific niche that gives them some reason to come back, or that gives them some value, because I don't know what the value is of me reading some poetry, or me trying to sell my book, or me talking about some random movie that I saw, or some theory about something, or even going back to video games. Like, it's so expansive that you can't really filter it down to one specific audience, and, you know, no one cares in the end. So I don't know what to do. I don't know how to market myself, and I just can't seem to grow. And they say give it time. It could take like 5 years, but, you know, I'm almost 34. Like, I don't know, I already feel super behind in my life, in everything, and I just want to be an author. I guess technically I am, but, you know, I want to be an author that people read. So I'll try the traditional publishing route for my next book, because it's going to be fiction, so it's a little bit of an easier sell than poetry. But man, like, it's just, I don't understand it. You know, it's not my generation to be brought up on social media and to be that savvy with it. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to recruit people. You just think that doing this is enough, and it's not. And, like, yeah, jealousy happens when you see people doing stuff that you would like to do and make it so many thousands, tens of thousands of views, and love and acceptance from people in the comments, and you're just like, I don't know, I could do that. Like, it doesn't seem hard. Like, you just have to be like a person, and sometimes that's enough, just talking and being honest. But for me, it's, I don't know, I just feel like it's too late, and it's, I know I still have time, but becoming like a author when I'm 40 kind of sucks if you give it like 5 years time, and having all my compendium of books just basically be trash, you know, be like garbage. I shouldn't say that, it's not garbage, it's just worthless to most people. And I don't know, like, you have to, in addition to marketing, you have to network, and I'm a very solitary person, so that's hard. And I don't know, I don't want to make it seem like I'm using people in that sense, so I don't like relying on other people's help. So I probably wouldn't even ask, even if I had friends that potentially had larger followings than me. You know, I just asked my sister, because she has a much larger following than me. Like, I don't know, I see people's channels that are like not being uploaded to, and they have more followers than me, and I just feel sad. So that's my rambling. I don't know what the point of this is. Thanks, YouTube algorithm. I don't have any inherent value to offer anyone, apparently. Like, my rambling, I don't know if it's gonna matter to anyone, but if I want to end on a happy, motivating note, I guess it's just keep going. And I don't know, I want to write because I want to, but I don't want to act in a play that no one will see. An audience of no one doesn't, are you still an actor? You know, it's that, if, what is that old parable? It's a parable. If a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear, did it make a sound? That kind of thing. It's like, did I really write a book? I don't know. So, I guess just keep trying, and one day I'll be the author that kid me wanted to be. Not just someone who posted a book on Amazon, but someone who sustains on that and is being read and shared, and that matters to people, that made something that matters to someone else, and that is able to reach the right people and move the right person. And that's really my goal, and so far that's been unattainable, and I don't know how to fix it. So I don't want, you know, pity. I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor me, you know, I suck at YouTube. You know, my only TikToks that have ever gained traction are the ones where I dress up as Charizard and run around my plushie room, talking about everything and anything else, and reading my poetry gets like 20 views, and like the ones that are like 1,000 are literally me being like, I'm 33 and I love plushies. Like, it's so funny. But, you know, I don't, you gotta try somehow. Maybe one of those people will like poetry, who knows. But yeah, rambling over. Thanks for watching. If you are, I'm sure most people didn't get past the like 30-second mark. That's usually what happens with my analytics. So if you stayed this long, I really thank you. I don't know why, but I do appreciate it. And if you want my books, I should, you know, look into it maybe, and leave a review if you do buy it, just because I think that helps somehow. But yeah, feedback is always important to me, but I'm gonna keep trying, and I hope you do too. And I hope that there is a place for all of us, and a place where our work matters and people that our work will matter to. We just have to find them.